to the extent or the level of which Iman will come in the life of a person, to that extent Islam will become exhibited, Islam will become apparent in his life. To the extent that the perfection of Islam is found, to that extent will be the perfection of Iman. We find, my respected brothers, it is sufficient as a sign that Iman is coming out of the lives of the Ummah, that nowadays we have confined Islam to be just a few selected amal and actions. Just a few things, a few ahkamat and commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have regarded that to be the complete Islam and that to be the complete Iman. We find, my respected brothers, that Iman and Islam is a composition of everything that was brought by Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because the Sunnat way of life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that is fitrat, that is the natural inclination intrinsically. Every human being, if his fitrat, if his inner self is pure, his life automatically will come onto sunnat. So sunnat will take a person towards fitrat, towards that natural intrinsic way of life, pure way of life, and fitrat will take a person towards Islam. We cannot distinguish or differentiate between these three things. To try to differentiate between sunnat, fitrat and Islam is in fact to try to adulterate the deen of Rasulullah Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the more a person will distinguish between sunnat and Islam, then fitrat, the natural pure way of life, will come out of his life, and his life gradually will go more towards the way that animals live. That pure Mubarak way of life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam will no longer be found in him. Islam is not just faraiz, is not just ibadat. We find, my respected brothers, nowadays when we want to show that Islam is existing, or what we consider to be Islam, then we look at the masjid. We say, see what big masjids there are, so that means Islam is alive. Or look, there's namazis in the masjid, people are reading namaz, so as long as there is namaz and there are masjids, then this means that now Islam is alive. People, Muslims nowadays, have become mutmain, have become content on faraiz. That is, if Allah's ibadat is found in my life, now that means that I am a mu'min, my Islam and my Iman is complete. We find, my respected brothers, what is true Islam? That the complete way of life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to come alive visibly in the life of the ummah. Because if the way of life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in totality was visibly alive in the life of the ummah, then the disbelievers would have been drawn to this way of life like magnets, and they would have also entered into Islam. If true way of life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his muamalat, muasharat, akhlaq, etc., social dealing, financial dealing, and akhlaq and character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was alive practically in the ummah, then, my respected brothers, the disbelievers automatically would have been compelled to accept Islam. They would have been attracted, they would not have been able to turn away from this. We find, my respected brothers, those avenues and those roads by which others will be attracted towards Islam, the importance of it has come out of the ummah. And the physical representation of that also has come out of our lives. If we let us faraiz or aspects of ibadat, this is the foundation of Islam, this is not Islam itself. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Buniyal Islamu ala khams. the foundation of Islam is 5 things. Not that these 5 things are Islam itself. Not that these 5 things are Islam itself. Understand, my respected brothers. The foundation of Islam is on these 5 things. That is, giving testimony to the kalima, bringing namaz in our lives, fasting, zakat, hajj, etc. This is the foundation of Islam. Now we have to ask ourselves, if this is the foundation of Islam, then what is Islam? Everyone knows that you put a foundation because you want to put a building on that foundation. And according to the strength of that foundation will be able to bear the weight of the building. The ummah, unfortunately nowadays, has contented itself with only the foundation. We have considered ibadat, namaz, etc. to be Islam itself. Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Sahab Rahmatullah alayhi used to say, our hajj takes place in Baytullah. Our namaz in the masjid. Zakat Muslims are giving to one another. Fasting is in our homes. How will the ghair, how will the disbelievers come to know what is Islam? Where if we consider these acts of ibadat to be Islam, these are within ourselves. What is going to attract the rest of humanity towards Islam? We find, my respected brothers, at this point, Hazrat digresses. It is very, very important. Unfortunately, nowadays, the reading of Hayatus Sahaba, the practical lives of Sahaba Ikram, and their attributes and sifat, the importance of this, emphasis of this is coming out of our workers. He says, every sati in our work should have a copy of Hayatus Sahaba with him. And he should be constantly making mutala of Hayatus Sahaba in order to understand the work. And from Nizamuddin, we have been given this directive that all those places where Shabguzari, weekly Shabguzari is taking place, Hayatus Sahaba also should be read. Condition, use an alim who has spent 1 year and has istidad. And all those places where daily amal of markaz are taking place, every day Hayatus Sahaba should be read over there. So we find, my respected brothers, if we are going to be moving without Hayatus Sahaba, if you are not going to take the trouble to make mutala of Hayatus Sahaba, then our tarbiyat, our spiritual development will be taking place without true knowledge. Hazrat Maulana Ilyas Sahab Rahmatullah alayhi used to say, the object of this effort is to bring alive completely the complete deen of Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That level of deen which he left Sahaba Ikram upon in Madinah Munawwara at the time of his demise, level of akhlaq, level of muamalat, muasharat, financial, social dealing, human interaction with one another, ibadat, etc. The complete deen, to bring that alive, that is the object of this work. Not just to bring ibadat alive. We find, my respected brothers, when we talk of sunnat, when we talk of the way of life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's not only meant the sunnat pertaining to ibadat. Sunnat of adat is meant also. That is every aspect of the life of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And sunnat of dawat also is meant. That what was the sunnat of dawat of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we have to bring complete sunnat alive. Sunnat of ibadat, sunnat of adat, sunnat of dawat also. Now, once we have understood that aspects of ibadat, this is the foundation of Islam. Now the question we ask ourselves, what is Islam? That muamalat, that muasharat, that akhlaq, which when it will come alive in the ummah practically, visibly, then the disbelievers seeing this, they will become disillusioned with their way of life and automatically be attracted towards Islam. It is that muamalat and muasharat and akhlaq, in fact, that is Islam.